Disney made the surprise move to introduce a new character just as their golden age of animated shorts was ending. A fresh, new character named Humphrey the Bear, a lovable underdog just looking for a place to sleep, fish to eat, and a bit of honey to wash it all down. In just 7 shorts, we got a curtain call for the era of Disney theatrical shorts that goes out with a hilarious boom boom. Hi, I'm Dennis, and this is West of Neverland. If you like classic Disney animation and behind-the-scenes stories, then this is the place for you. When I was a kid, my mom and I would sing our own version of the Rangers cleanup song from the Disney short In the Bag. Pick up the trash, boom boom, put it in the bag, boom boom. It wasn't until years later that I realized that we'd been singing it wrong the whole time.
First you stick a rag, put it in the bag, bump, bump.
And honestly, sometimes I still sing it wrong, just for the memories. And isn't that why we love Disney animation so much? The happy memories that go along with these shorts? In the Bag was one of my all-time favorites. So today we're exploring the surprisingly short but memorable career of Humphrey the Bear.
Humphrey, just look at that mess.
How he went from a menacing foil for Goofy to a headliner for his own short-lived cartoon series. Along with him came the fussy ranger, J. Audubon Woodlore.
Too small.
Together they left a lasting mark just as the studio was shifting its focus to new priorities. Humphrey the Bear didn't begin as Humphrey, he began as just a bear, appearing in the Goofy short, Hold That Pose. Released in 1950 and directed by Jack Kinney, the man behind so many of Goofy's how-to cartoons.
The ball is snapped, the quarterback fakes it to the halfback, gives it to the fullback, who front pile drives through center for a gain of 8 yards. And that quarterback's a smart boy.
The premise is simple. In this how-to cartoon, Goofy decides to take up photography. He heads to the zoo looking for that perfect subject. Unfortunately for him, he picks the bear enclosure, not exactly the wisest venue for a budding wildlife photographer. This first version of the bear is very different from the one we'd come to know and love. But there's one moment where he's still a bit drowsy from his nap, and Goofy is able to pose him for a picture, along with a dazed smile that, for a moment, looks a bit like the future Humphrey. 3 years later, Jack Hanna decided to reuse this bear for a Donald Duck short called Rugged Bear.
Who gets stuck with all the bad luck? No one but Donald Duck.
Or Rugged Bear. But this wasn't just a recycling of a character model. This was a complete reinvention. The bear is now gangly, doughy, and perpetually scatterbrained. The cartoon opens with gunfire through the woods. It's hunting season. To survive, the bear sneaks into Donald's cabin and disguises himself as a bearskin rug. As Donald proceeds to make himself at home on the rug, Humphrey has to endure getting burned by a hot coal, run through the washing machine and dried, and trimmed by a mower, waiting for the hunting season to end. And while the bear doesn't speak, he's far from silent. His vocal effects were provided by Jimmy McDonald, the studio's longtime sound effects wizard, who had been the voice of Mickey Mouse for quite a few years at this point.
Well, you see, Minnie, Pluto, I thought I told you to. Bring the tickets.
But when Rugged Bear came out, Humphrey didn't actually have an official name yet. About a month before it was released, Disney partnered with Spiegel Inc., a direct mail company, to run a $50,000 nationwide contest asking the public to help them name Walt Disney's bear. The contest was part of a cross-promotion with the theatrical re-release of Pinocchio. We don't actually know if the name Humphrey actually came from the contest or not, but by the time the next cartoon arrived, the name had stuck.
We won't mention any names, will we?
Before we continue, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, ZocDoc. About 16 years ago, I decided to change careers. That meant a move to a different state so I could go back to school. That was quite a big change for my family and me, but one thing I wasn't expecting was the need to find all new healthcare providers. Something I really wish we had back then was the service provided by today's sponsor, ZocDoc. ZocDoc is a free app and website that helps you find and book in-network doctors fast. I really love the online scheduling feature. Once I find a doctor that looks like a good fit, I can schedule an appointment right there. Seriously, I just open it up, search for the specialty I need, dentist, optometrist, primary care physician, or any other from over 200 choices. It's so much more convenient than calling, navigating a long list of number options, and then waiting endlessly on hold for someone to get back to you. Also, I can see right away in the listing if the provider accepts my insurance. I can get in, make my appointment, and then get on with my day. Plus, if it's a doctor I'm not quite sure about, there are thousands of patient reviews and ratings just waiting to help me make the choice. So stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/Neverland or scan the QR code on the screen to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/Neverland. This message is sponsored by ZocDoc. And now, back to the show. In Grin and Bear It, released in 1954, Humphrey is now a permanent resident at Brownstone National Park.
Brownstone National Park.
Donald Duck is visiting the park as a tourist, and of course, he's brought lunch and Humphrey wants it. And he'll do whatever it takes to get it. But this short also introduces someone new, the park ranger.
There he is, there he is.
A stuffy, mush-mouthed bureaucrat busybody.
Okay, mix it up, boys, mix it up.
Who would later become known as J. Audubon Woodlore. He's not exactly a villain.
If it happens this year, the supreme penalty.
But he's not exactly in control either. He lays down the rules, but the animals don't listen.
Elbows?
He tries to help maintain order, but Humphrey doesn't care.
Pick it up. Let's keep the park clean.
What makes the dynamic work is that both Humphrey and the ranger seem just slightly in over their heads.
Boys, let's not litter the park.
In 1955's Barely Asleep, this time Donald Duck's the park ranger, closing out the park for the season and shepherding the bears into hibernation. After Humphrey gets kicked out of the cave by the other bears because he's a noisy sleeper, he sets his sight on sleeping out the season in Donald's cozy cabin instead of the cold cave with the other bears. In Beezy Bear, also released in 1955, Humphrey tries to steal honey from the beehives on Donald's farm, which neighbors the park. In this short, Humphrey has to steer clear of Woodlore.
Is that clear? Then, get back here!
Donald and a swarm of bees trying to protect their honey. Hooked Bear, released in 1956, was the first of what was meant to be a new series of Humphrey cartoons, making him the 7th character to get his own title card, after Mickey, Donald, Goofy, Pluto, Chippendale, and Figaro. Though, if you count the Practical Pig as the start of what was to be a Little Pigs cartoon series, then Humphrey would be the 8th. In Hooked Bear, he refuses to accept the end of fishing season.
Fishing season's over.
In this short, Woodlore is back trying to enforce the rules.
Leave the kiddies alone.
Ow, ow, whoa, ow, whoa!
And then comes my favorite, In the Bag. Released in 1956, it's the last of the Humphrey cartoons. This time, the ranger tricks the bears into cleaning up the park by turning it into a song and dance routine.
Then you bend your back, put it in the sack, bump, bump.
It's full of expressive animation,
Boy!
one extremely catchy song,
First you stick a rag, put it in the bag, bump, bump.
and a surprise cameo from another famous bear.
Remember, only you can prevent forest fires.
And if you're enjoying this deep dive into Humphrey the Bear, hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss any of my future adventures into the history of Disney animation. Grand Canyon Scope, released in 1954, is the only theatrical short to feature Ranger Woodlore without Humphrey. It was also Disney's second cartoon released in CinemaScope,
No yelling.
which is a format animators appreciated because they could show more action in the scene without having to cut to different angles and shots. In this short, Donald Duck antagonizes Woodlore through his ignorant
You again. Tourist. Trouble, trouble.
and ultimately destructive sightseeing escapades.
Don't wait any longer, folks. Run for your lives!
And of course, what would be a better place to show off the wide vistas of CinemaScope than the Grand Canyon? And actually, there's a fun little self-aware gag in there where a group of sightseers is clustered in a small group and the ranger tells them,
Spread out a little, folks. This is CinemaScope. That's better.
J. Audubon Woodlore's tired, nasal, and fussy voice is as charming as ever,
No throwing of rocks into the canyon. If we all threw rocks into the canyon, pretty soon we wouldn't have a canyon, would we?
as with all of the characters voiced for Disney by Bill Thompson. For decades, Bill Thompson was one of the most consistent voices in Disney's soundscape and beyond. Bill Thompson got his start in vaudeville as a child performer. He then found his break on Don McNeil's Breakfast Club, a long-running morning variety show. In the show, Thompson played multiple recurring characters, but one that really stuck out was the perpetually distressed Mr. Wimple. That's a character he would also play on the radio show Fibber McGee and Molly.
Oh, it's Wallace Wimple. Hi, Wimple, old man.
Hello, Mr. Wimple.
Hello, folks.
Won't you have a cup of tea, Mr. Wimple?
Oh, no, thank you, Mrs. McGee. I find that tea stimulates me too much.
And that voice would also evolve into one of MGM's most iconic characters, Droopy Dog.
Hello, all you happy people. You know what? I'm the hero.
For Disney, Thompson's range was also impressive. He played the White Rabbit and the Dodo in Alice in Wonderland,
Oh, my fearing whiskies! I'm late!
That's better. Have you dry in no time now.
Mr. Smee in Peter Pan,
There'll be no handouts today. Shoo now, shoo. Go on, off it. Off with the arse. Go away, out of it.
Professor Owl in the Adventures in Music shorts Melody and Toot Whistle Plunk and Boom,
Today's lesson will be about something we really can't do without. Storytelling? No. The study of musical instruments is the subject for today.
Flannery the station manager in Pigs is Pigs,
2 guinea pigs. You sure don't look like pigs to me.
and in Lady and the Tramp he played Jock,
Why, lassie, a bonny new collar.
Do you like it?
Aye.
Bull,
He has an eye for a well-turned paw, he has.
and the policeman at the zoo.
What's the matter? Can't you read?
Why, yes, in several languages.
Oh, a wise guy, eh?
In The Story of Anyburg, USA, he provides the voices of both the narrator
This story takes place within the borders of a great, enlightened, and civilized country.
and the defense attorney,
Now, calm yourself, Lizzie. Don't get in a tizzy.
He was the voice of J.J. Fate in the 2 How to Have an Accident Donald Duck shorts,
Howdy. I'm J.J. Fate, Fall Guy. You know, there are people who still insist on blaming me for their accidents. For example,
he voiced King Hubert in Sleeping Beauty,
Nothing elaborate, of course. 40 bedrooms, dining hall, honeymoon cottage, really.
And he was even the first voice of Scrooge McDuck in animation, in Scrooge McDuck and Money.
See what I mean? They were nowhere near. There's only 100,000 here.
Bill Thompson's final Disney role was Uncle Waldo, the drunken goose in the Aristocats.
And basted in white wine.
Basted? He's been marinated in it.
Dreadful. Being British, I would have preferred sherry.
He passed away the following year in 1971. After hearing all these voices, I got curious about what he really sounded like when he wasn't putting on a voice. He actually made an appearance in a 1959 episode of the game show To Tell the Truth, where he was the celebrity the panelists were supposed to guess. When it's finally realized who he is, we get to hear him in his everyday voice, which sounds remarkably like the White Rabbit.
Actually, sweetie, kind of hard for me tonight because Bill is an old-time friend of mine, and to keep a straight face with this guy is really something, believe me. Incidentally, Herbert Hoover has just announced that Bill has been named to the National Board of Directors of the Boys Club of America. Congratulations to you, Bill. That's quite an honor.
Thank you very much, Bud, and if you don't mind, I'd like to take this opportunity to have whatever we have left here of the fun to go to the Boys Clubs of America.
Well, it certainly shall, and you've done very well.
None of Thompson's characters were what you'd call the star of the show.
Ain't it a bloomin' shame?
But his voices gave them personalities that were very memorable.
With a bonny, bonny bone that I'll bury for me own in my bonny, bonny bank in the backyard.
Whether it was a flustered rabbit,
No time. Hello, goodbye.
a loyal Scottish terrier,
It's a bonny brawbrecht day. The day.
or Park Ranger J. Audubon Woodlore,
Fellows, please, your attention.
with too much to manage and not enough patience, Thompson made these supporting characters just as iconic as the leads. And if you're interested in my references, I've left links to them in the description. Humphrey the Bear had 7 memorable shorts, 8 if you include the proto-Humphrey Bear and Hold That Pose, that came and went just as Disney's attention was moving away from theatrical shorts. Mickey and Pluto had already had their swan song in The Simple Things.
It's the simple things that give my heart its wings, like dreaming by a campfire light.
Released in 1953, the same year as Humphrey's first official outing. Theaters were competing with television and investing less and less in cartoon shorts, having already dispensed with newsreels as part of their programs. Disney would also rather invest their time and money in the television programming, their feature animation, and in the Disneyland theme park. The theatrical shorts became much rarer and more specialized by the end of the 1960s.
Gall dang people that camp on the freeway.
Humphrey the Bear's solo series may have ended in 1956, but he didn't disappear. He made it into the opening sequence of the original Mickey Mouse Club, where he, Ranger Woodlore, and his fellow bears marched to celebrate Mickey. And while he mostly stayed in the vault for a few decades, a new generation of Disney artists never forgot him. Humphrey turned up again in shows like Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, Goof Troop, and The House of Mouse. In these later appearances, his vocal grunts were handled by Frank Welker and Jim Cummings. He even popped up in Ralph Breaks the Internet, dutifully picking up trash in the background. And in Disney's 100th anniversary short, Once Upon a Studio, he's inside the elevator with Woodlore, Donald, and others, waiting as the sloth from Zootopia slowly makes his way in.
Thank you for holding the elevator.
You can even spot Humphrey in the Disney parks. Over at Disney California Adventure, there's a gift shop across from Soarin' called Humphrey's Service and Supplies, an old-time gas station outfitting travelers as they set off into Grizzly Peak. So where else have you seen Humphrey turn up? Let me know in the comments. Humphrey was a troublemaker and a clown, a character who showed up, made a mess, and left you smiling. But just in a handful of shorts, he carved out a lasting place in Disney's classic animation legacy. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into classic Disney animation, check out this video about another lovable troublemaker, Mr. Toad. In it, I explore the winding road Disney traveled to bring that story to the big screen. Go ahead and check it out, and I'll see you real soon.